My father in 1954, to close this make-believe chapter right now, and I said I was not going to mention the company, but I already Sorry.
We could have guessed.
My father is an artist as well, and he made this scratching drawing in 1954. And I find it fascinating, the coincidence, because there's no coincidence in life. There's no such thing. I have the original at home, and I always find very interesting that comparison between my father and myself. In 2002, once in Canada, I began working in big size charcoal drawings, talking about the myth of Christianity. And I showed them in Brandon, provoking a very good impression and a shock as well, as my work always does. And as soon as I began understanding more and more my work, I got married here in Canada, and I had my kids here in Canada. And as a family, we decided to have our kids at home with midwifery services. And I thought it was a perfect chance to keep working in my topic. And you understand very well now how deeply I am into working with blood. So when my kids were born, we made all sorts of experiments, like torso castings. And during the deliveries, I kept all the hospital clothing that we used in our living room, because they were born in our living room. And I kept them. And I've been trying to show this installation as well, this project, but I haven't been able to do so. I will someday. In 2005 and 2006, I received a major grant from the Manitoba Arts Council, and I began working in this project, Holocaust. I went to Berlin and I went to Krakow in Poland to gain experiences and gain emotions regarding the Jewish Holocaust. Not because the Jewish are the only ones that matter in this planet, but because it's very public in history. It's funny how 5 million Jewish died in the Holocaust, but nobody recalls the 15 million Catholics, Gypsies, Romans, homosexuals, and all the other people who died unnoticed in these concentration camps. So I did this project. All sorts of drawings, super long drawings, like 2 meters by 150 centimeters, like really big drawings. And like here, there is a concentration camp in Berlin that very little people know. It's called Plotensee or something like that. And it was a prison in which they executed people, hanging them with piano strings, hanging in these hooks here. This drawing is the very room in this concentration camp, which is a sort of a memorial now. And this is myself, feeling the way I felt when I was there. I was feeling in limbo. And that's why one of my foot is on solid floor and the other foot is just floating. And I could feel the sense of the ghosts going around. It was a shocking experience. This is the size of the drawings. I put this picture just so you understand the size of these drawings. And little by little, I became an activist because of my experience with make-believe, with the experience in all these places. And in 2006, I was invited to speak a speech in the Day Against Racism in Brandon. And they told me, but please be polite, be soft. And I said, if you're going to invite me to say a speech in such a day, you cannot expect me to be polite. You want me to be there or not? And they said, well, okay, go ahead. So I was, while saying the speech, I was invited to leave the podium 3 times by the hostess. That very day there was 500 people plus, probably 750 people attending this ceremony. And the mayor of Brandon was there. And not even 5 minutes after my speech began, he walked away in shame. And he didn't return. I was very bad criticized by the city hall, but at the end of the speech, 500 people gave me a standing ovation. That's what matters. Again, 2001 was the year in which many of us woke up to a reality that was kept occult and hidden for many, many years. The next part of this conversation I'm having with you is going to be extremely shocking. I want you to consider the information I'm going to share as true, because I know it to be true, not in my mind, but in my heart. I know it to be true because I am waking up. Because I began a series of investigations. Because I didn't want to believe that 9/11 was just a bunch of crazy Arabs performing things, killing people in American soil. I just couldn't believe it. And my investigation began. Again, if some of the information you find it difficult to believe, please gain me respect. Allow me this respect we deserve between each other. And if you don't want to believe it, at least give yourselves the chance of investigating, because the time has come, nonetheless. Here are my exhibitions, this very exhibition in Vancouver. And during that time, 2007, I was introduced to the Zeitgeist movie. And it was an eye-opener for me. And I couldn't stop. As soon as I saw the movie, I just kept going. And I joined the Zeitgeist movement and kept investigating about the 9/11 truth. And I kept investigating about the financial system in this planet that is keeping us under bondage, under permanent slavery. Even in countries like Canada, in countries like the European Union, it doesn't matter if we believe that we are free, that we live in a super high-tech democracy. That's an illusion. We are not free, we are slaves. I found things like the microchip. I found things like the Bilderberg group. I found shocking things like that. And in the year 2008, I had a huge need of changing gears in my investigation, in my research as an artist. But I didn't want to stay away from my addiction for human sexuality.